I was, I think, telling somebody they should do a clinic. And then I heard locally a couple of girls be like, we need a clinic. And I'm like, Mary, you need to stop telling people to do one and do one.
I have a conspiracy theory that we don't need to encourage more women to play disc golf. In fact, I believe there's actually a larger number of women playing disc golf than is even acknowledged. That what is really needed is you. You who already loves disc golf. You who wants to make an impact on the sport. You who has dreamed about becoming the next Jomez. Who has debated starting a disc golf business. Who enjoys creating content or hosting a disc golf clinic. And that is what we're here to talk about today. In hopes of inspiring and informing, we have invited Catalyst Meridith Giere to come on and discuss with us her experience hosting her first disc golf clinic. Join me in welcoming Meridith to our podcast, Why Disc Golf?
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Today we're going to be discussing why disc golf, what keeps you coming back to playing, and then we'll delve a little bit into how to host a clinic, because I know you just hosted a wonderful clinic down in Texas, and I'm looking forward to hearing all about that. So let's start with why disc golf? What keeps you playing?
I came up with this just in the last few minutes because I had this long story to share, but connection. Not only connection between people, but like with me and myself again, because I kind of reignited a competitive flame inside me from a young age. And so, it's really kind of driven a new passion and kind of, it got me out of bed. I was in a depression and it got me out of bed from like, I'd be in bed all day until like my husband got home. And so, once I tuned into women playing disc golf, because it's a whole different experience than playing with guys, it became like my daily, like, all right, I'm gonna go play, like get up, get out. And once you're out of bed and outside, like you do more with your day. And so I've just grown so much in the past few years.
Absolutely. And I think a lot of us can relate to that. I know I can for sure. If my partner wasn't going to play around with me, then I wasn't playing around. So finding a women's league in my area that I was able to actually be like, I'm going to go, play this weekly with a bunch of other women and then make new friends that way. And it just gave you kind of something to do, which was really nice.
It's so much fun. It's like the highlight of my week. And it was funny the first year, when it came to like daylight savings or whatever you say, and like we couldn't have it for half a year. And I was like, what?
What are
What are you
you
talking
doing?
about? Yeah,
Yeah,
so that was an adjustment.
absolutely. No, for sure. I think the connections in disc golf is something that we all build. It's almost like you find a whole new little community within the sport if you're just willing to go out and try it.
True.
Yeah,
That is, and sometimes it's scary for women too because they're so worried about their game. But it's so beyond that. It's so beyond that. All these women are so great, and then even the guys are very supportive. And so I feel like this opportunity will be a lifetime of new connections. Yeah.
agreed. So women definitely get out there, try the sport, go find a weekly, go to a clinic and just experience what it's like. All right, so then let's get into the Throw Like a Girl clinic that you just recently threw. Tell us about it.
Okay, so the original inspiration, I think my first touring pro to meet was Courtney Cannon, or AKA Pixie. And a few years ago, she threw it was kind of like a girl power, I think that was the name of it, clinic. So she got local FPOs, she set up stations. She actually had it to where afterwards we did a pro skins match. And I mean, she raised money and had a huge raffle, but it went so smoothly. So I have to give her a shout out because that is what the inspiration was. If I didn't have that I was a part of then, I wouldn't, my mind would have probably been too overwhelmed to even know where to begin. So that's what I did. I was, I think, telling somebody they should do a clinic. And then I heard locally a couple of girls be like, we need a clinic. And I'm like, Mary, you need to stop telling people to do one and do one.
Yeah.
So, It really was a bunch of collaboration. I've had the honor of playing with some Texas FPO for a few years because I had to kind of jump up early in my disc golf career, which was a blessing. And they humbly agreed. And so I kind of went off the same idea of Pixie with the different stations. Other than putting, I incorporated the Perfect Putt 360 because we had some sponsors from them. And so it, with the collaboration of these women and sponsors, and shout out to Erin Weaver, who put my plan on paper because I'm kind of a hot mess. There's now, yeah, it's like a go-to that we could share of, how we did it. And it leaves room for those that are actually leading the station to do what they do best. So I'm not telling them what to do. I'm just saying, hey, do you mind doing upshots? If they're great at upshots and that's where they want to be, that's where they went. And then I let them go from there and do their own thing.
Right.
So really, I just kind of orchestrated it. I had a plan to be with the brand new people that like didn't even have disc. I had reached out to, I think, Mark Ellis, and he helped me with the kind of a back to basics of safety, grip, and the 3 throws: forehand, backhand, overhand, and kind of let them just get familiar with it. I didn't really have the opportunity to work with brand new girls.
Mm-hmm.
My idea was I was going to walk with them to each station, and we were going to kind of do the basics together with the FPO so that we had more one-on-one. But we didn't have them. Everyone that showed at least had some disc and had been playing for a few months, so they really benefited from what each FPO had already had planned out.
Yeah.
But I had a plan, and I understand that now. I think in the future, and this goes along with maybe another question you're going to ask, is like something maybe you do different, is something more casual for brand new people. So we have a tournament coming up in my hometown or next door to it. And I think my new approach on maybe doing a very casual clinic is to print out some flyers and put them in like local little sandwich shops or whatever,
Right.
and just be like ladies clinic, and just get some local ladies to come out and just go over the basics, go over safety, etiquette, grip, throw, but make it a little bit more on a casual, maybe more inviting, because maybe how official mine came off as was more of like, oh, only those that are. Do you get what I'm saying? Like,
Absolutely.
I don't know.
Did you post it mostly on Facebook, and that's why you
Yes.
feel like there were more women who were already interested in it, who were already playing, who attended, rather than with posters just reaching women who aren't even really a part of
Yes.
the committee yet?
I honestly, I'll be honest, I actually expected a lot of newbies. I really did. I think I saw people interested in talking and wanting to come out. But when it came down to it, we had a phenomenal show. I had anxiety about my little player packs I got together through sponsorships. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to have enough. It was exactly enough. Like everything kind of worked out perfectly. I just really expected more brand new ladies. And I think there was one. There was one.
Well, it looked like it turned out really great. I know you guys have a video out by Glow Butter on YouTube, and we'll link that down below so you guys can watch it, of a little clips of how the event went. It did look like there were a significant amount of women there and all just really enjoying the whole event.
It was so amazing. I know, oh my gosh, Casey Pennington, to kind of get things started, they were tossing back and forth. Everybody had a partner. And then she got everybody into a huge circle to do the disc golf strong warm up, because she does that all the time. I remember we actually did a couple of tournaments last year together. We went and stayed together. And I was like, Casey, teach me the disc golf strong. And I wrote it down and it's in my backpack now. But to see her out there and lead, and when I turned around and you saw that huge circle of women doing that, I mean, my heart just like, it
Yeah.
was so it's not, I mean, I can't take credit. I can't take all the credit. I had so many people that like came together to make that work beautifully. And I'm so grateful for every one of them.
Yeah, and that's a really good point, because I want to go into kind of the process of how to go about starting a clinic. And I think you hit something really important, is you don't have to do it by yourself. Reach out to the professional women, especially if you're an AM. And I know even for myself, I consider myself an AM player. I'm definitely not like pro touring caliber there, but I do want to do stuff within the sport. I want to help grow it, even not having that experience. But that doesn't mean that you can't organize the event, put on the event, and communicate with others to help bring that experience that you might not have.
Right. So even advanced, I mean, I honestly am an advanced rated player. So even though advanced, if you're like, oh, I don't really know too many FPO or they're too busy, you know, maybe they're touring that are typically local. Yeah, even those. And when it comes down to growing the sport for brand new girls, like the experienced girls, no matter, you know, your amateur are going to help so much because it's just the basics. It's just the basics and getting them to meet you and be like, oh my gosh, this is fun. We're throwing some plastic, walking in the woods and hanging out and making friends. So like, don't kind of overthink it too much.
No, I mean, let's be honest too. You can find a YouTube video that explains kind of all
Exactly.
that. You can just regurgitate to the women
Yes.
who are coming out. And it's really important, like, utilize your resources. Don't feel like you need to be the expert or you need to just know everything. You can rely back to all the information and resources that are already out there.
Right. And that's why I thought Perfect Putt 360 was so perfect to just implement into the putting. So we had two stations where Nikki just kind of worked on putting, but she did have still the flags of like 5, 10, 15, 20 feet out. So just kind of getting them comfortable with however they putt. And then they went over to Renee and actually played Perfect PP 360. They only got to maybe 20 feet because they would each do their 10 disc and stuff, and they had 25 minutes per station. But like it's already set up, and that was an introduction to them. We printed out the Perfect Putt 360 game, and so they wrote down their score. I thought, you know, I was like, that's genius, guys. That's not me. That was them. And I'm like, that's so, you know, if they wanted, we showed them the app if they wanted to download it, and so that made it super simple for the putting aspect of it because anybody can. You know, it's not, I think it's $1. I actually played GBO and hung out with Chris, the creator of Perfect Putt 360. I think it was $1 or $2, like, and 2 years ago. So it can't be much more than like a few bucks. And it's really great to improve your putting game.
Yeah, for sure. That's a good point. That's something that, you know, isn't in a player's pack, but that they can take home with them, that experience, the knowledge of the app, and then how to set it up and play and utilize it to further their playing.
And anybody can run that station, right? I mean, so an amateur shouldn't be too intimidated with like showing them, you know what I mean? So.
Okay, that's awesome. It sounds like, I mean, you had 6 stations, I believe, from what I read of your guideline.
Yeah, it was really 3 mains. We had putting, upshots, and drives, and then we separate them in 2 parts. Haley Trevina is another local pro I met at the same time with Courtney Cannon, and she at Courtney's did a really cool thing she had learned, and it's really just doing the hula hoop, showing you how to do a straight shot, an Anhyzer shot, and a hyzer. Just kind of showing them the movements, and it simplified it, and it kind of blew my mind when I was in the clinic watching a couple years ago. I'm like, oh my gosh, what a great way to interpret that to someone. So she had her own side of the upshots, if you will, her own little station, and then we had another FPO or 3 working on upshots, whether it be sidearm, backhand, and they were actually working on doing the upshots the whole time.
Yeah.
And driving, I think they just ended up, the 3 FPOs ended up making that just one full, like almost hour together. So again, like they get to do what they want, right? Like they could have broken it up to sidearm and backhand, but they want to do it together. And it's really cool because then they got to see the kind of camaraderie of these FPOs, like, because we all do like each other. Like, yes, we compete against each other and I want to beat them so bad, but there's so much respect and class amongst us, and we root each other on. It's beautiful to see.
Rivalry. Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, I mean, it worked out that way that I did 2 parts in each station, because also you need that space for safety as well. So.
Yeah, and how did it go about reserving the course or the park that you used for the clinic?
Well, my original spot was kind of, a place that we had done some events that supported the women so much. I was so excited, but then the city kind of came in. I mean, I didn't even do anything official, so that was kind of my problem in the past. Like I would just be like, okay, I'm just gonna go do it, and that's not the way to do things. But they come in, they had some construction going on over all the empty space I was going to use. So then I started thinking of Wynwood. I never reached out to the church. Then I started working with another church because we have done some events there, and I was about to go plan something there, but it wasn't as it just wasn't going to work as well as this worked out. So Steve Stanley's with the Houston Blind Disc Society. It's been one of the longest clubs in Houston area, and he's super supportive of the women. And he was like, "Hey, how about you do it at Wynwood? I'll talk to the church. They'll, close it down." And so it was such a blessing. Like that's what happened. Like they closed down the church from I think 9 a.m. to 1. And I got out there about literally a week before to see it because I hadn't seen it and since my kids were like yay high, and I didn't play a whole round of disc golf, and I'd end up at the park with them, so I didn't even know what I was working with. It was so perfect, so perfect. So that was really a blessing. So finding a course, even maybe on a church or something like that, where they can close it off for you, especially those busy courses, because you really need that space for safety and all that. So that's how that worked out. We actually have so many courses in our area, but I was just so grateful that worked out that way.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, the importance of networking. It's almost just don't be afraid to send the email or just ask, talk to people about what you want to do. And you never know, something random like that is just gonna that you didn't
It's
even
crazy
think
how
about.
much support. So much support start coming from all different ways because a lot of people want that same thing of growing the sport, but they don't really know how. And so
Right.
if they're given an opportunity, then they're like, yes, please, let's do
Most
this.
people pick it up. Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. Okay, so you've already kind of gone over anything you would change. Oh, before that though, how did you go about getting sponsorships for the players packs and things like that?
Well, we have, like I said, we have some like Houston Disc Society or Houston Flying Disc Society. They are always giving sponsorships, especially for the ladies. So they gave in nicely. Northside Chain Gang is our largest Houston disc golf club. I'm actually on the board. I've been there. It's my second term they call it man of arms, but it's pretty much membership. So I'm in charge of all things membership. And so they have actually, because of Northside Chain Gang, I really feel is why Houston has such a huge movement in women's disc golf because um, we couldn't even get a women's division at times when I started back in 2017. And now there's multiple women's divisions, and Northside really helped by sponsoring women's players, like multiple tournaments in like 2018. Like they did so many things at highlighting women and growing the sport for us, and encouraging Nikki with Chicks Chaising Chains. And so they're a huge sponsor always. And I was able to purchase those discs through them. So, there's a lot of people in your area, I imagine, that want to help and to sponsor. And I give them the shout out. You throw up their logo and make sure everybody, they want the love, right? Mine was online. I didn't have any signs or anything at the event. I just, I wanted everything to be free, and so I didn't want to deal with really any money. So I was just very blessed. I had Eagles Wings. Sean and I found out about them a couple years ago, and they will hold chapel on on what DGPT tours, or even they try to go on tour, and they do chapels. And so we would go when we could, and it's cute. It's only a handful of people, but we like to see that grow. So we strongly support Eagles Wings and growing, spreading the gospel into the disc golf world. So they sent me minis to support and sponsor us. And so just, I could go on and on, honestly. I mean, we had lots of individual guys that threw some money to support us. So that's what I did. I got that stuff together. I made some stuff with the ladies that they already did. And I threw these packs together. They kind of blew my mind at the end. I was like, oh my gosh, like, woohoo. Northside gave me all their towels, the leftover towels, because we have to re-up and do different things for this membership this year. So we had 28 towels left, and so pretty much all the packs got nice Northside chain gang towels. So, and like I said, if you talk and you mention, they come from the woodworks and they're willing to help.
Again, can't stress it enough, just reach out. I know
Mhm.
it can be intimidating sending that email, making that phone call, that Facebook Messenger question, but honestly, you might get 9 no's out of the 10 that you send out, but that one could give you a ton of items to fill everyone's players pack, and
Right.
you don't know until
And
you ask.
let me say this, you don't need one. Like, I can see how that would be stressful. That was a lot of my time. It was such a joy to do, honestly. But you don't need that. Just have some ladies that have disc bring out lady friendly discs that they're not using and just have disc available. We brought so many out. We actually didn't give them out because I had enough disc, but just there's plenty of people, and be careful when you ask for disc laying around, because then you'll end up with hundreds because these guys are like, yes, I want to help. They don't really understand that what they're wanting to give may not help a woman. But you don't have to do a player's pack. You can just, hey, be like, ladies, bring out your extra disc. It can be used for the day and you get it back, or you can give it to them. So that, to make it more streamlined and less, then go play a few round, like a few holes, like maybe a 9-hole or 12 holes. I think we did 12. Because sometimes it's a lot for the new people that haven't really played. They haven't played a whole round. I mean, I played disc golf, but I didn't play a whole round like until 2017. I mean, that's a thing. It's really a thing. So you don't have to overwhelm them with 18 holes. But even just 3 holes, just to get them now, let's go use our skills and.
No, I definitely agree with that. And that's a really good point. I love that you can really just do a clinic with nothing to, a bunch of different stations, players pack. So it ranges from what you can do. And all of it is helpful to grow our sport. Honestly, we need it. All right. So tell us now, moving back to focus on you a bit more. Tell us about the Fling Show. I haven't actually spent a lot of time seeing a lot of these shows, but I've been seeing on Facebook that you've really got this whole other like podcast type of thing going on.
So honored to be asked to co-host. So David Himmeline and Chris McClung are some locals that I've known and played disc golf with. And during COVID, I actually thought they knew each other for decades, because sometimes I hang out with them, they fight like brothers. Well, I finally realized, or asked recently, and they connected during COVID, and they started generating these ideas of doing the Fling Show is really to recognize local disc golfers. All the pros get all the, everything. They're always being watched. A disc golf famous TV on Monday nights, 8:30 p.m. or 8 p.m. Central. We go live, and we pretty much from the weekend prior, whatever was done, and it's not always just winners. It's maybe someone that directed like a veterans charity disc golf event or whatever happened. We asked them if they'd like to come on and talk about it. We highlighted Brazil this past Monday because they're trying to grow the sport there. And so it's really, really cool. We've added on Chrissy Fountain, our other empowered disc golf teammate, and to represent the Austin area. And we have some really kind of exciting things coming up. We do match plays. We're going to do like a Houston versus Austin FPO match play.
Ooh.
So many fun things these guys think of. And so I was asked to be a co-host after doing an interview. And it's been such a thrill. It's locally in like Spring, Houston. We go over there to Matt's house and set up in his garage, and it's so cute.
Oh, I love it. And so it is like mostly focused on like the Texas, Houston area.
Yeah, I mean, we'll definitely, we did a highlight for Brazil. We definitely want to go like worldwide, but that's where the original heart came from is, hey, we got so many locals here that are such great players and doing such great things. Let's start highlighting them. And that's where their heart and stuff comes from. And Dave is an artist. Chris is just hilarious, and his ideas are grand, and he kind of orchestrates it all, like gives us how the show's going to go. And I come along and just be pretty. I used to get so nervous, and then I'm like, Mare, they really just want you to be yourself. So
Mhm.
okay,
Yeah, no,
I
I think
gotta work on.
great. And I agree, it is so nice to have just even locals spotlighted and just introduced to everybody else because not everyone tours. You know, it's kind of difficult in this sport. It's not really financially feasible for everyone to tour, but there's still some awesome players in local areas or that are growing the sport that are making a difference that should be recognized. So I think that's really
Yes.
great.
Yeah, and it sparked others. We have a Lucky Ace Disc who is an up and coming company, and so they've started doing a lot more filming, and they actually collaborated. Lucky Ace Disc and Fling Show at Gorilla Disc Golf's Sugarland Showdown that Lisa Ficus won, and she came on this Monday. So they actually filmed the FPO cards. I'm so excited. That's gonna be Christy Fountain, Christina Lintham, Lisa Ficus, and Casey Pennington. I can't wait to watch it. I usually play that tournament, but I have a job now, so I watched them live on my thing. I'm like, this is fun. I thought I'd like want to be there, more than being at work, which I did. But anyways, yeah, it was so fun to watch, and I can't wait to watch that footage. So it's just growing and growing, and it's inspiring others to get out there and record more, and so it's really fun to see.
And it's necessary. I think that's what's missing from the women's side of disc golf is not just the players, but we need all the other background, video producers, photographers, people who like hosting events,
Mhm.
especially for women focused stuff to come out of the woodwork because that's
Yeah.
what's gonna help us grow.
With that said, this dog media who is coming out of Austin, recording FPO, they did a lot back in 2020, and moving forward, she hooked me up with these wonderful graphics to highlight the FPO. I mean, that was just another lady that she came out of the woodwork. Hey, can I do this for you? And I'm like, oh, really? And so look how much I leveled up, or the event leveled up, from her help. So
Yeah.
you know, shout out to Disc Dog Media. Check them out as well. Thank you, Maria.
And everyone is needed. And
Mhm.
the disc golf is honestly just so big too. All help can assist. There's just so much growth that is needed that don't even worry if there's already a media, if there's already a podcast in Houston, there could be one in California. I mean, there's just so much that still needs to be covered.
Yep, absolutely.
Wonderful. Well, where else can we find you on social media to follow your disc golf adventures?
Well, I have an athlete page on Facebook, Meridith97672. You can find me on Instagram at Lady Anhyzer, just like it sounds. And I do have a YouTube. I haven't done much on it because my laptop's crashed, but it is under Meridith Giere, Lady Anhyzer. And of course, The Fling Show. Come find us on Facebook. I think hashtag or little at The Fling Show. And we have YouTube and all kinds of fun stuff. So that's where you can find me.
Yeah, those will all be linked below too, so you guys can make sure to go follow Meredith. And then any closing announcements? Anything you got going
Yeah,
on?
I want to give a shout out to my sponsors. First of all, thank you for letting me be a part of this Empowered Disc Golf. Discraft Underground, where it all began, of showing up and having a presence. So thank you for that confidence that you give me. I'm representing them for 3 years now. And Bogey Free Club, one of my local sponsors that really treats me well. So I just want to give that shout out. And we have our Chicks Chaising Chains, of course. We're going to be doing Women's Global. And everyone check out where your local Women's Global will be because you will have one in your area.
Absolutely. A great event to be a part of.
Yeah. So
All right, Meredith. Well, thank you so much for being on the Empowered Podcast, Why Disc Golf. We loved having you and hearing about how to host a clinic.
thank you so much.
All right. All right, all. Show Meredith some love. Go follow her disc golf adventures on her social media platforms. And be sure to subscribe to our channel. Give this video a thumbs up if you like the direction we're heading in with our content creation. And of course, we appreciate all of you so much for taking the time and supporting Empowered's growth. Until next time, be the catalyst for change.